Hi everybody, and welcome to week 15. So this week we're moving from our overall view of public relations. So we started out with the macro view, what is public relations, how does it relate to corporate communication. Then we took a smaller level view looking at topics that kind of constitute the how to do public relations, and now this week we are moving on to special topics in public relations or corporate communication as well. And so we're starting with crisis communication this week, and we will finish up with ethics next week. And so I call them special topics because they can really come to a head at particular times in organizations. However, crisis planning and communication should be part of like the everyday practices. So organizations should constantly, again, in their research, be monitoring the environment or scanning the environment for problems or issues, as well as in advance having flexible and adaptable crisis plans. So it's not that crisis comes up and then all of a sudden an organization puts together crisis communication and moves into crisis mode. It certainly becomes more acute, but when done correctly, crisis communication truly is part of the everyday process in organizations. And of course, the same should be said for ethics. Ethical decision making and ethical communication should be an everyday part of public relations. However, I do like to separate these two topics out so that I can deal with the specific theories or practices that go along with each of these topics. So to that end, again, we're starting with crisis communication this week. So I have prepared a lesson as well as an activity and discussion. So the lesson and the reading talk a lot about the three different phases of a crisis. So pre-crisis, acute crisis, and post-crisis. And so your activity asks you to prepare a crisis management plan or a crisis response, and then your discussion asks you to talk about different crises that you've seen and how they've been handled. So again, just kind of taking what you've seen in everyday life and applying what you learned from class to analyze that. And then of course there are two discussion leads that you can respond to this week. Both are really interesting, so I hope that you will take a look and do your responses. And that's about it on deck for this week. Of course, next week will be our last week, and then the week after that, Tuesday the 5th, your final paper is due. So if you have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out to me. I did send out a video, I think last week or the week before, going over the specifics of the paper, but do feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Send a draft if you want some feedback. And then also, I am going to do my best to have the grade book completely up to date as of the end of next week. Now, of course, next week's activities won't be graded because that won't close out until Sunday. But by Friday, I want to have everything else graded so that you have a really good idea of where you are grade-wise going into the final paper. I mean, the grade book is pretty up to date now. I think I'm up to like week 12 or 13. But I want you to be able to really know where you are in terms of your grades. So if you have, again, any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Today is Tuesday, and I will be here until about 1:30 or 2 o'clock today. And then I will also be on campus from around 9 to 2:30 tomorrow, which is Wednesday. And we can also make an appointment to Skype or make an appointment for a time outside of my regular office hours. So I hope you have a great week, and I will see you in class online.